Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, Neighbor is using land for hosting campers upwards of 200 plus. We live in a suburban area where all homeowners have a minimum of 1 acre. The neighbors who live next to us have decided to start posting their 10-acre land on a website, omitted the website name, to attract campers who pay to stay the night on the property. Since starting the land rental, there have been feces, urine, and weed stenches coming from the area. The website lists that the only on-site bathroom is $50 per night, which is much higher than the rent to stay on the property. Additionally, there are multiple 15-foot fires that take place at all hours of the night and then left to simmer until the early morning hours unmonitored. It has become a huge concern for the other neighbors' health and safety, and multiple individuals have contacted the zoning office to file a complaint. Is this even legal? What is the best course of action if the zoning office does not see sufficient evidence of the chaos that typically occurs on weeknights and weekends when zoning officials are not on the clock? And a user in the comments said, untended fires are not legal, call the fire department every time. Defecating outside is not legal, call the health department. Weed is not legal via state law most places and is illegal at a federal level everywhere, call the police. Update, neighbor using land for hosting campers upwards of 200 plus. Thank you all for your advice and motivation. The zoning board was contacted by my count and upwards of 20 plus people within the week following my post. The board updated us saying that this is not the first they have heard of / had to shut down sites that are advertised online, and that they would conduct a more formal investigation on site the following week. The administrator who came to investigate did so that Monday, and within 24 hours the site was no longer accessible to the public and all amenities were removed from the land as well. All neighbors have now been provided with some important non-emergency numbers to call if anyone sees camping activity in the future. Again, thanks to everyone's advice, it gave my neighbors and me some great insight to an issue which seems relatively new. And the next one is titled, Live-in mental health clinic for minors forcing patients to become Christian. The location is Missouri. I recently started working with a live-in mental health clinic for minors. It is run by a hospital which is non-religious and not for profit. The mental health center is basically for troubled youth between like 7 and 18. They can be checked in by their parents or forced to go by the state. Anyway, right away I noticed that the staff essentially makes the kids follow religious practices. The staff leads prayer, they allow only Christian music to be played, the kids are made to watch faith-based movies, and they make the kids watch streamed church services on Sundays. I'm not a Christian and found this to be extremely off-putting considering a lot of the kids are not there voluntarily. The hospital that owns it also claims to be non-religious, but then this is happening in their facility. I'm not really sure if there's an agency to report this to other than the board of trustees for the hospital. Are there any legal avenues for bringing attention to this? Edit, I put non-denominational, but I should have put non-religious. The hospital has several facilities of its main hospital. There are 2 hospitals in this city, the other one is Christian. Edit number 2, I should add that it doesn't say anywhere on their website or in their information that they are religious. I'm sure parents know within like 1 or 2 weeks of their kid being there, as it would be hard to miss. And guys, I'm curious, have you ever heard of similar cases where mental health clinics force a certain religion onto their patients? Seems like a special case to me because honestly, I've never heard anything similar to this. And by the way, if you have watched until here and enjoy my content, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support me. And the next one is an update to the mental health clinic story. Okay, well, a lot of stuff has gone down since this post, so I will try to update here. After a few days, I started asking a lot of questions about our policies on religion and what was / wasn't allowed. I guess I must have asked too many questions because I was called in for a meeting with my supervisor, her supervisor, and the head of HR for the facility. They basically asked me what my issue was, to which I told them I was uncomfortable working for a religious facility, especially when that had not been advertised. They claimed they were not a religious facility, but that most of the kids and staff were Christian and so they could do what they wanted. After a bit, they basically pressured me into quitting the job. I recorded the entire conversation and have a copy of the recording. My state is a one-way recording state. As well as all the religious stuff, I saw some pretty serious abuse of the kids that I was in charge of. I will spare the details, but it is definitely not ethical for a faculty that deals with abuse/trauma victims. I was only there for 2 weeks and saw this much. I imagine there's a lot more going on. I have a meeting with the head of HR for the entire hospital next week. I am planning on recording that as well. Things I learned while there that for me are just more red flags. Number 1, they don't let the kids celebrate any pagan holidays, including Halloween but not including the pagan rituals of Christmas. Number 2, some of the houses are banned from listening to anything other than Christian music, although in my meeting they acted as if they knew nothing about that. Number 3, the kids do not have to attend sermons on Sunday but must stay in the room while being watched and can do nothing else while they are going on. Number 4, my supervisor was dating one of the on-site therapists and everyone, including the kids, is aware. Number 5, they are a private hospital but have received federal funding several times over the years in forms of grants. Number 6, about 20% of the kids are there by court order and the rest were checked in by their families. Number 7, nearly all of the staff have ministry backgrounds and none, except for the very top supervisors, have degrees in psychology. I am pretty upset about the whole situation but have not contacted any of the organizations suggested to me yet, since I still haven't spoken with everyone from the company yet. Thanks to everyone who gave me advice. And guys, unfortunately, I gotta say, there have been no further updates to this story so far. However, this story is essentially still brand new because it was posted about 5 days ago, so maybe we will get another update soon. Excuse me for that. And the next one is titled, I've got a meeting tomorrow because I refuse to answer my phone on my day off. I work at a supermarket in England and have been for the last 2.5 years. I was working 2 weeks straight the last 2 weeks and yesterday was my first day off and the only one until the Friday after next. I wanted to actually enjoy my day off but instead was bombarded with texts and calls from my manager who always seems to want to ask me questions about my clothes or other duties on my day off, and I decided rather than answer like I usually do, I will actually enjoy my day off. It was not long before I got a text that stated, "And still no reply, not impressed to say the least. The area manager will be in tomorrow and we will discuss what will happen as you are required to answer your phone when necessary." I went in today and explained that I was out with my family all day, which they did not accept as a good enough reason, and tomorrow after my shift I have a meeting with the manager and area manager to discuss my future here. I feel like I should be entitled to not have to be in contact with my employer on my day off, especially if it was a one-time thing. What could they potentially do at the meeting, and is requiring your staff to be in contact in their own times legal? And guys, I don't know if it is just me, but to me it sounds absolutely crazy that your employer would call you on your day off and would then ask you what you are doing. Has that ever happened to you? Let us know in the comments. Either way, a person in the comments said, please call ACAS for some further support, but they are breaking, as the other poster said, working time directives amongst others in contacting you on your day off. This is not to sound mean, but you work in a supermarket, not a key government security official that needs to be contactable 24/7. I had the same issue years back, and my other half said the same thing to me. The world is not going to go to nuclear hollow CAUST, or the company is not going to go into administration if I am not contactable outside my working hours. Good luck. And the next one is an update to the I've got a meeting tomorrow because I refuse to answer my phone story. I had the meeting yesterday and had a coworker who is also having issues with the same situation with me. I called up the numbers I got told to in the previous post and they gave a lot of information. The meeting only mentioned the not answering call situation once, and it was essentially an hour-long meeting where the management shouted at me non-stop for all the different issues, which are mostly their fault because of the lack of training they gave me. Afterwards they said they won't take anything further as they want to give me another chance, but would not be scared of firing me if my attitude towards the work continues. Today was another day off and yet continued with many phone calls every 10 minutes from 8 AM until 1 PM from various managers, apparently even asking a customer to use their phone so it comes up as unknown according to one of my coworkers. I have recently applied for another job, so I'm looking to be getting out of that place because they treat everyone there as poorly as possible. Thanks for all the tips and advice that was given. Really guys, sometimes I'm wondering what is so hard about treating your workers fairly. Some managers, supervisors, bosses etc. seem to be on such a crazy power trip that you are really wondering where the hell does that attitude come from. And the next one is titled, Did a property survey and explained my plans to my neighbor about installing a privacy fence. Maybe getting into a property line dispute. What are the laws surrounding easements I need to worry about, if any, and what are my rights regarding trees bordering our properties? I purchased a home in Fort Thomas, KY, located in Campbell County last year, and this summer we plan to install a privacy fence surrounding our property. I checked and privacy fences are permitted by our local laws. The previous owners had a fence, but the rear portion did not extend across the very back of the property and instead stopped some 20 to 30 feet away. We had a property survey done to determine where the back property line was, since the old fence did not run along it, and learned that our property extends back farther than we originally thought. The neighbors behind us, who have lived in their home for about 6 years, were surprised as well and are now raising concerns about our plans to install the new fence. There are 2 specific concerns that the neighbor has raised. Our property line sits 4 feet from their concrete driveway. When discussing the matter with our neighbor, he brought up something which he termed easement to an existing structure, a term I had never heard, and claimed that since his driveway is a structure which existed prior to my plan to install this fence, there are laws/ordinances pertaining to the distance any structure I build must be from his existing structure. I could not find much online about this term, but it is possible I don't have the right legal vocabulary to search properly. When it comes to property lines, is there an easement I need to be concerned about, and if so, what? I checked my warranty deed and it states the subject property is subject to easements, covenants, conditions and restrictions of record and or in existence. How do I determine what these might be? Along the whole back portion of my property, including along the property line, is much foliage. In particular, along the property line, there is a lot of overgrown honeysuckle and other smallish trees that kind of form a green privacy barrier of sorts between us. In order to install the new fence, much of this foliage needs to be cleared. My question is about what I am allowed to clear. I've heard that if a tree is on my neighbor's side but branches of it extend over to my side, I am allowed to trim those branches back. Is that true? And what about trees that sit directly on the property line? Who is allowed to do what with them? I really don't want to remove something I'm not legally allowed to and have my neighbor get more upset. When Monday rolls around, I plan to engage the local government in some way to learn more, but in the meantime I thought I would get a head start and see if anyone here knows anything or has had similar experiences. Thank you. Thanks to those who have responded. Did not think lots of people would be interested in a property dispute on a Friday night. I'm going through and responding where necessary now. And a user in the comments said, yes, your plan for Monday is the right step to take. If there's a real easement for stormwater/drainage purposes, utilities, forest protection, etc., they should have a record of it by a plat and or deed. I would also ask them about a couple of other things. Do you need a permit to install a fence? What are the property line setback requirements for a fence? Does it need to be set back from driveways for other properties? Don't use the word structure when you ask that last one. Generally, driveways are not considered structures, so regulations that state an existing structure on a neighboring property must have clearance of 2 feet from fences on an adjacent property or so on would not even be applicable for a driveway. But that varies, you would need to understand how it is interpreted in your area. The county might not have that answer and might defer to an attorney. And guys, I'm curious, have you ever been engaged in any sort of property disputes with your neighbors or other people? Let us know how it went. Update to the property survey story. It has been over 3 months since I made my original post. For a Friday night post I actually got a lot of responses, and I thank everyone who participated. The main reason this update took so long is because the fence company was hella booked due to COVID. Everyone is doing home projects. I finally got my fence in last week. Also, given that we now have an enclosed backyard, we got a doggo. Between the last post and now, I have not had much contact with the angry neighbor. I decided to basically avoid him and only communicate with him if I had to. In the meantime, I took your advice and hired a lawyer to put my ducks in a row. This was basically peace of mind in case the neighbor came at me with more drama. I also talked to the city zoning director, who told me the neighbor had no idea what he was talking about and he gave me my permit. I feel like I should mention that the neighbors on either side of me are super nice, and I've made it clear that while the fence is indeed a privacy fence, there are gates available to them should they want to drop by, and they are welcome anytime. The both of them are planning to get matching fences to stretch along the back of their properties as well. The guy on my left, side 1 photo above, also borders the property of my angry neighbor, so this dude is in for more fence frustration. During the days the fence was being installed, my neighbor and his family were watching the workers like hawks. The dude even came out and yelled at the workers for being too close to his side, to which the foreman told him to go away. I guess these fence guys deal with this nonsense all the time and have hard skin about it. Anyway, the fence is up, the dog is having a great time, and in my opinion, it looks great back there. I know not everyone is keen on privacy fences or fences in general, and to each their own. We love it and did it by the book, and this neighbor can continue to F off for the foreseeable future. And the next one is not related to legal advice, but it is a little bonus story from our own subreddit posted by user Ancient Ice, and it is titled "Put away stock in record time, our GM refuses to believe we did all the work." Hey Ripe, this would fall under Tales from a Server. Background: my first job was working in a fast food place. It was in a small town, so most of my coworkers were classmates from school. Jenny told me she loved it when John and I worked together because it was like having 3 people in the kitchen. We said almost nothing to each other, yet we knew what the other was doing. The cast is John, coworker, Sue, general manager, Jenny, supervisor, and me. Story: one day both John and I are scheduled to put the truck delivery away. Normally we would finish 1 to 2 hours after the truck left. We were told this was double the normal volume because of a sale starting the next day. So Sue told us we would probably be there 4 to 5 hours today putting the truck away. We were both sitting waiting on the truck to arrive, and both of us had plans that day, so we both wanted out of there fast. One of us came up with the idea we would rotate all the stock and take out the trash while we wait. So we clock in and immediately rotate all the stock around so the new stuff would be in the back. After we did all that, the truck still wasn't there, so clocked out and sit down. Once the truck got there, we had a system of I would bring in the goods with a dolly and John would put away. About every 3 loads I would bring in John, who would come out and bring in a load himself. I brought in the last load and it was the only thing we had to put away. We both go up to the front to clock out and Sue stops us. "Hey, what are you two doing?" We responded, "We are done, so we are going home." Sue asks, "Did you guys rotate the stock and take out the trash?" We both told her we did. She asked a couple of other "did we do these?" questions, and we responded we had completed those tasks. Sue: "I don't believe you. There's no way you guys are done, because the truck is still in the parking lot. Just wait there while I go check." She comes back with a puzzled look on her face. "Okay, both you can go." We both high-five each other and clock out. We were there less than 2 hours to put away everything. The next scheduled shift I am working with Jenny, and she tells me, "You and John have all the management scratching their heads together as to how you guys did the truck so fast." I start laughing and told her, "We wanted to go, so we busted our butts." From that week on, John and I got put on trucks. As we got trucks in twice a week, we both got put on both of them. I did not mind it, as it gave me a couple of extra hours each week. I found out through Jenny, Sue loved keeping us on the trucks because we got done so fast, it saved her 4 to 8 hours of labor each week. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.